Americans have officially been voting for over a month, but are electronic voting machines flipping people's votes? Does President Trump currently play for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Did an alien give the first ever extraterrestrial TV interview? Answers to all these burning questions and more. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. Man shows up to a Kamala Harris rally. He shouts, "Jesus is Lord." And Kamala responds, says, "You are at the wrong rally." Have you ever heard of a more honest campaign flub? I think that is the most truthful gaffe I've ever heard in all of politics. We will get to that in one moment. First, though, I want to tell you about Good Ranchers. Go to goodranchers.com. Use promo code Knowles. You know what I had for dinner last night? You know what I tried to have for dinner last night? I tried to have a delicious, absolutely exquisite, best-in-class Good Ranchers New York strip steak that sweet little Elisa had made for me. And I come home, but then my middle boy, Dada, wants steak. And he'd already eaten his steak. But then I said, "Okay, buddy, you can have a few bites." He ends up eating probably half my steak, more than half my steak. And I don't begrudge it to him. It's so absolutely delicious. So what you got to do is you go to goodranchers.com. You get all the best meat and the wild-caught salmon and the chicken breast and the everything. It's all absolutely fabulous. You got to order the Knowles box. You will get a free limited time add-on for 4 years. This is the presidential promo. It's like $1,200 worth of free stuff. Use code Knowles, claim the presidential promo, worth up to $1,200. If you want to make it extra special, get the Knowles box. You get 100% American meat to your family through 2028. This quality meat is absolutely out of this world. You will not get anything like it anywhere else. Just get it. I absolutely adore it. If Good Ranchers did not sponsor the show, I'd probably still do the ads for free. That's how good it is, and it's how much I want you to have it. Go to goodranchers.com, promo code Knowles, American meat delivered. The voting's already going on. We like to say, oh, it's 15 days until the election. Oh, 1 week until the election. That's not true. The election is happening right now. That's a consequence of Democrats turning election day into election season. They used COVID as the excuse to do that because they feel that it gives them an advantage. And they added all sorts of other little tricks in there, like widespread mail-in balloting, ballot drop boxes, so on and so forth. So this raises the question, are there shenanigans? Is there cheating going on? You know, I'm old enough to remember when top Democrat politicians campaigned against widespread mail-in ballots and extending the voting window because it would compromise voter integrity. Now, though, the Democrats think that they can get an advantage out of it, so they support it. So the question we have to ask right now is, are there shenanigans? Marjorie Taylor Greene says there are.
They went to vote, and we have the Dominion machines. And you go through and you mark president, you mark, for Congress, that would be me. They marked Donald Trump, and they marked who they were voting for the rest of the way down their ballot on the machine. Then when they're finished, the machine prints their ballot, a paper copy, a printed copy, and each voter has to review that printed copy to make sure that it has selected the candidates that they want to vote for. And so when this voter printed their ballot and they looked, it had changed. It was not Donald Trump. It was not me. And it was not the other ones they had voted for. It had switched. And so they went up to one of the election workers and they said, "Here's the problem. The machine switched it, and my printed ballot, I did not vote for these people." So they had to start over, and they went through it several times, and it kept on making the same error. Kept on switching the votes.
Okay, do you believe this? Because, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, and everyone says Marjorie Taylor Greene's totally crazy, and she's on the Alex Jones show, and Alex Jones is totally crazy. So this is totally crazy, right? We can totally dismiss this idea, right? Well, actually, a spokesman for Dominion, the company that she's talking about here, told The Independent that the company is, quote, understanding from the county is this instance was voter error and has since been resolved. But notice that the company, the ballot machine company, doesn't deny that some problem occurred. Dominion is simply saying, well, it was actually the voters' fault. It wasn't our machine's fault, but anyway, don't worry, we've resolved it. That problem did happen, according to Dominion, according to the voting machine company. They're just disagreeing over whose fault it is. So you can't say, well, it's just Marjorie Taylor Greene and we can dismiss what she's saying. Or, it's Alex Jones, we can dismiss what he's saying. No. Everybody agrees some problem happened here. And if you need even more authority to believe in this sort of thing, listen to President Trump's latest campaign pal, Elon Musk.
In my view, we should only do paper ballots hand counted. That's it. I'm a technologist. I know a lot about computers, and I'm like, the last thing I would do is trust a computer program, because it's just too easy to hack. It's too easy to add just one line, and it's really difficult to hack paper ballots. So, in-person voting with proof of with ID, which, by the way, every country has. Like almost every country that has democratic elections requires in-person voting with voter ID. It's super weird to not have that. I think that's the only way to effectively address fraud.
Okay, so hold on. Now we've got Marjorie, who I like Marjorie. I know some people don't like Marjorie, though. So, okay, but you got Marjorie, you got Alex Jones. I don't know Alex Jones, but I've gotten a kick out of Alex Jones over the years, and you got Alex Jones. You've also got Elon Musk, richest man in the world, guy revolutionized the electric car, guy completely changing aerospace technology, creates rockets that land. They come back to Earth and then they just land by themselves. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, this is a guy who knows a thing or two about computer engineering. And then on top of that, you have all the Democrats for so many years who said that electronic voting machines could be hacked. Every prominent Democrat you can think of just about raised questions about electronic voting, to say nothing of widespread mail-in voting, to say nothing of ballot drop boxes. So it's not just some fringe right-wing figure. It's everybody agrees the way that the election works now is vulnerable to fraud. So I want to be very clear here, because I don't want to lose $800 million that I don't have. I'm not making any claims about Dominion or any voting machine. I don't know anything about those voting machines. I'm talking about the system. I'm talking about electronic voting in itself. I'm talking about widespread mail-in ballots in themselves. I'm talking about ballot drop boxes that are far away from county clerk offices in themselves. I'm talking about the whole system today is much more vulnerable to fraud than it was 5 years ago. And that's a problem. So what does that mean for us? Does it mean you shouldn't vote early? No way. Does it mean you shouldn't use the electronic voting machines? Well, if that's the only way you're going to vote, you got to vote that way. Does it mean you shouldn't use mail-in ballots? I think you probably should use mail-in ballots when you can. What it means is you have to check that your vote counts. There's that old line, vote early, vote often. That's what the Democrats do. But there's a true version of that for Republicans, which is I think you should vote early. You should probably vote early in person. If it's easier for you to use a mail-in ballot, use a mail-in ballot. And then I would check. I would go on election day or before election day, double check that your vote has been counted. There are going to be shenanigans. Voting is going on right now. The system has been altered in such a way that it makes the election system more vulnerable to fraud. That means you got to vote twice as hard. And what the libs are counting on is that conservatives just won't be that diligent. They'll be confused. They'll be skeptical of the new system. They won't engage with it. And they can win, despite the fact that President Trump is far and away the most popular presidential candidate in this cycle, especially in the swing states. Now, you want to talk about shenanigans. The liberal shenanigans are changing all the voting rules to benefit them, in some cases illegally or unconstitutionally. The Republican shenanigans are posting funny pics from ChatGPT, from AI. By which I mean President Trump posted this picture to Truth Social. It's if you're just listening to the show in podcast or on the radio, it is President Trump looking menacing, vibrant, and young as a Pittsburgh Steeler, number 47, looking buff. He's got those veins popping out of his huge muscles, and it is Trump as an active football player. He's not wearing a helmet because you don't want to mess up the hair, but other than that, this man is a Steeler. And Newsweek, I kid you not, Newsweek posts this fact check. Donald Trump has shared what is likely an AI-generated image on his Truth Social account showing him as a player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Likely? You're not positive? Newsweek is saying, I read in the article, it says, according to an image detector search through Is It AI, the photo is 81% likely to be constructed by AI. So according to the geniuses at Newsweek, there is a 19% chance that Donald Trump currently plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, but I don't know. The libs seemed so shocked this past week that President Trump does not currently work as a W-2 full-time employee for McDonald's as a fry chef. But now Newsweek is shocked that there's a chance, it's likely, that President Trump is not a Pittsburgh Steeler. We will get to the rest of this brilliant fact check in just a moment. First, though, I want to tell you about Hallow. Go to hallow.com/Knowles. If you want help in your prayer life, you ought to check out Hallow, the #1 Christian prayer and meditation app. A lot of people tell me they're interested in praying, they just don't really know how to get started. Okay, just get started. Hallow can make it easy. They have thousands of prayers, meditations, resources, and incredible spiritual leaders. If you want to start reading C.S. Lewis, Hallow is starting a prayer series on his most popular book, Mere Christianity, a very important book in my reversion to the church. Every day, the series will go through a passage, reflect on it, then enter into a time of prayer. If you want to have a good life, then you have to strive for holiness. If you want to be holy, you have to pray. It's simple as that. There's no other way to do it. Hallow also has some great content for election week to help us keep our hope and the faith. And I'm sure a lot of us want to do that right now. Download Hallow for 3 months free at hallow.com/Knowles. That is hallow.com/KNOWLES. Download the app for free. Join the challenge and improve your prayer life. Hallow.com/Knowles. Get an exclusive 3-month free trial of all 10,000 plus prayers and meditations. Hallow.com/Knowles. Newsweek, quote, verified photos of the former president at the football game on Sunday night show him in a suite at Extraterrestrial Stadium in Pittsburgh wearing a blue suit and a red tie. However, the image posted on Truth Social depicts Trump on a football field wearing a jersey for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There is no evidence this ever occurred. I'm reading verbatim from Newsweek. Trump's torso and arms also appear to have been altered to appear more muscular than they do in other photos and videos of Trump in sportswear, such as those posted by Trump's golf Instagram account in July. 81% chance this is an AI image. How have we arrived at a point in society where jokes are taken to be reality and reality is taken to be a joke? How do we get to a point in society where the presidential candidate, the billionaire real estate and media mogul, who is pushing 80 years old, might be mistaken by news editors for an active player on an NFL team? How do we get to that point? We lost our humor, in part. We've become sad as a society, and our sadness has made us angry. I think a lot of the anger, this is just drawing from the scholastic and classical tradition, a lot of the anger that we feel, I think, is probably a result of just a kind of sadness that we don't know what to do with because we're a depressed society. All these people are on depression pills. No one has a sense of purpose anymore. Everyone's extremely confused, and they're expressing that sadness that confuses them in anger. So they've been driven literally mad. They're crazy, and they can't tell the difference between a joke, AI picture, and reality. And a broader about truth that you see expressed probably most clearly and most prominently in the ideology. A society in which news editors and government officials and even medical doctors can't distinguish between a man and a woman is a society in which you're not going to be able to distinguish between an nearly 80-year-old presidential candidate and a professional football player. No question. Now, the other reason the libs focus on this nonsense is to deflect from their own nominee, Kamala Harris, who's absolutely terrible. Here is just a little taste. If you haven't been tuning into the Kamala Harris rallies, as most people have not, here is just a little taste of Kamala on the campaign trail. Here she is talking about her debate against President Trump.
Oh, y'all watch the debate. He has, quote, concepts of a plan. And of course, Usher. Got
you. She just pulls out her broomstick and flies off into the night after that clip. She mentions a line or two that Trump said, or I don't even know, the mispronunciation of Usher. I don't even know where that comes from. But maybe it comes from something Trump said. I don't know. I'm not sure. It doesn't land because it's not totally well known. She follows that, these sort of verbal ejaculations, these just random spastic statements that don't seem to have a lot of coherence. She just follows them with this maniacal, witchy cackle. And this is supposed to persuade people. This is supposed to win people to her side. I don't think that's working. I don't mean to just knock her and say, she sounds crazy or something, but she does sound crazy. And that's the reason that's a bad for her campaign is it repels people. It fails to persuade them and bring them over. She also, I mentioned anger just a few moments ago. She also falls into a really disturbing anger on the campaign trail.
We are clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again have the privilege of standing behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again. Never again.
It's the same thing. Where's the broomstick? Come on, fly off. This display from Kamala is almost identical to that lady in the neon jacket who screamed no after it was announced that Trump had won the presidency. You remember, this was a meme that went around for years after 2016. President Donald Trump has been elected president. No! That's what Kamala sounds like here. The issue is not even anger. Anger can sometimes be the correct emotion, and it can be appropriate to express anger. President Trump expresses anger, but consider the difference in the way Trump expresses anger versus Kamala. When Trump expresses anger, he says this country is going to hell in a handbasket. These policies have been absolutely terrible, and we're going to fix it. We're going to turn it around. It's anger, but it's a righteous anger that is controlled and that has a solution. He's proposing a solution. It's looking forward. It has an end to it, and the end is to rectify a wrong, and he remains in possession of his passions. Contrast that with Kamala. What is she saying here? He can't be president. He can't. We can't. I don't want him to be president. No, I don't want that. And it's just like a bratty, whining toddler. There's no end to that. She's not really proposing a solution other than, please don't let this happen. Please don't let Trump be president. She's not really making much of an argument here. She goes, he can't, he shouldn't, he won't. And she's lost control of her passions. She's lost control of her emotions. She's revealing once more why she is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't possess the requisite knowledge. She doesn't possess the requisite mental acuity, sorry to say, and she doesn't possess the requisite discipline. She lets her emotions run away with her. Trump, say what you will about his tweets, say what you will about his comments, he is in control of them. He does them intentionally. He doesn't get carried away with passions. He doesn't turn red in the face, spittle coming out of his mouth. That doesn't happen. This woman is terrible at retail politics. Trump is great at retail politics. Trump is great at literal retail, right? He sells buildings, he sells his brand, he sells neckties, he sells watches, he sells everything. So if this woman is so bad at campaigning and keeps revealing that she is manifestly unfit for office, then that means that this election is a referendum on how much retail politics still matters. That is to say, this election is a referendum on how much popularity still matters. Popular politics. Some people have said in the lead up to this election, you know, Michael, look, I feel good. All the indicators are at our backs. Trump's doing well in the polls. All the issues break for the Republicans. Every issue, even sort of historical matters, you know, the historic matters, the fact that Democrats dumped their candidate late into the cycle. They installed this woman who never won a primary vote while she was running for president. She's never been popular. You know, everything is breaking for the Republicans. But Michael, I just don't think they'll let him win. They, you know, the blob, the establishment, the whatever, you know, whatever the powers that be are, they won't let him win. That's what people tell me, and I'm sympathetic to that point of view. This election is a referendum on that. If we can't win with these conditions, I don't know that we can win anymore. Even the sympathy generated by the near assassination of Trump, twice, I guess, one actually hit him in the... Everything is breaking for the Republicans. Geopolitics, domestic politics, candidates, party organizations, everything is breaking for Trump. Does that matter? If not, then for all the talk we hear from Democrats about threats to our sacred democracy and our republic and our constitutional system, we would appear to be moving into a post-republic era. We would appear to, and that happens. Republics fall. There is a cycle of regimes. We've known it since Polybius, at least. That happens. You know, regimes change. We might be moving into that. Remains to be seen. But if that woman wins, I don't think that will be a vindication of popular Republican Democratic politics. I think that'll be the indication of another kind of regime. Now, speaking of organizations, with your organization, when you want to get things together, you ought to check out Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Knowles. It is time to ramp up your financial game. You like that? You like that? You do it with Ramp. Ramp is a corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. First off, Ramp gives you control like you wouldn't believe. We're talking issuing cards to every single employee, but with limits and restrictions that you set. Expense reporting automated. No more wasting time at the end of every month trying to piece together who spent what. Ramp software automatically collects receipts and categorizes your expenses in real time. You'll be closing your books 8 times faster, but Ramp is not just about saving time, it's about saving money. On average, businesses using Ramp save 5% in their first year. That is real money back in your business. Here's the best part. Ramp is so easy to use. Even I can use it. Get started in less than 15 minutes, whether you have 5 employees or 5,000 employees. Now you get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Knowles, Knowles, ramp.com/Knowles, ramp.com/Knowles. Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. This Friday, we're going to have the mailbag like we have every Friday. And I've got some instructions for you. If you want to send a mailbag question, people will email me through my personal website saying, how do I submit a mailbag question? You go to dailywire.com, you click the watch page. Then you scroll down, you click the Michael Knowles Show. Then right toward the top there on the left side, you see mailbag. It opens up an email. You can either type in your mailbag question, or if you want to leave a voice mailbag, if you want to allow your mellifluous tones to be played on the show, then you just record it with your voice memo app, with whatever app you use to record your voice. Keep it to under a minute. The shorter, the better. 30 seconds, frankly, is ideal. Some people send me their life story and it goes over a minute. I can't play that on the show. So send it in and then I'll hear from you on Friday. On the retail politics front, Kamala Harris is clearly losing. Maybe the most egregious and truthful gaffe I've ever seen in politics came just a few days ago when Kamala Harris was campaigning. She's at a rally. A guy shouts out, "Jesus is Lord." This is Kamala's response.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
This is out of a movie villain. This is in a normal culture before everything got topsy-turvy and we said that good is evil and evil is good and all the rest. 50 years ago, if you made a movie about an evil politician, that would be the scene. The Christian is in the rally and says, Jesus is Lord. And then the villain says, oh, you at the wrong rally. Oh, you Christians get out of here. You go to that smaller rally with all you pitiful little Christians down the street. We don't do that here. No, we don't worship God here. Oh, no. And then she would once again fly off on a broomstick, probably. However, we live in a modern culture where the principalities and the powers and spiritual wickedness in high places seem to have a particularly pronounced role, and we call good evil, and we call evil good. Kamala says, if you're a Christian, you come to this rally, you're at the wrong rally. Believe her. Believe her. She's absolutely right. It is not permissible for a Christian to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not stating that as my preference or my subjective feeling. That is an objective fact. That is as near an objective fact as one can arrive at in politics. I know a lot of people believe that religion today is just a matter of personal preference or taste. You know, man, it's just kind of like the spirit moving me with the vibes, you know, and it's just kind of what I think, man. And my truth is my truth and your truth is your truth. No, that's not religion. Religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. The existence of God can be known with certainty from human reason by the created world, okay? We can know certain things about God. Revelation then tells us more about God, and we can know certain things about Revelation because if you're Christian, you believe that Christ instituted a church. He didn't primarily institute vibes. He didn't even primarily institute a canon of Scripture. He didn't leave us a canon of Scripture. He left us a church, and the church has authority, and the church has spoken with authority on particular matters, notably on abortion. The church has spoken clearly about abortion since the earliest days, the very earliest catechism we can find, the Didache, says that abortion is completely unacceptable, a grave sin, and the church has spoken clearly about that for 2,000 years. The right to life is not one right among many. The right to life is the prerequisite right. It is the right from which all the other rights flow. You cannot, when you have a woman who is campaigning on zero abortion restrictions, on just killing babies willy-nilly, with a running mate who practically speaking, legalized post-birth abortion by removing the requirement that doctors provide medical care for babies who survive abortion and are born alive, and removing the reporting requirements when that happens, and it did happen multiple times on his watch. That is completely unacceptable. Can't do it. To say nothing of the mockery that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz make of marriage, the fundamental political institution, which is a symbol of Christ's love for his church. If you're a Christian, that matters. If you are a Christian, it is not acceptable. It is not permissible to vote for Kamala Harris. You can't do it. And you can take that to the bank. If you know Christians who are considering voting for Kamala Harris, maybe send her this segment. Maybe send her the relevant literature on this subject. Maybe just talk to them. Can't do it. At least send her that clip of Kamala Harris saying, oh, you worship Jesus? You're at the wrong rally. Get to that other rally down the street. Go to the Trump rally. She's telling you, you should believe her. On at least that front, you should believe her. Compare this to J.D. Vance. Same thing happened to J.D. Vance. Someone came in, said Christ is Lord, whatever the pro-Christian statement was. It's a little hard to hear sometimes off camera. Clearly a declaration of faith in Christianity. Here's JD's response.
Anti-Christian rhetoric and anti-Christian approach to public policy. I don't think that we've, that's right, Jesus is king, and I don't think that we've seen, I don't think that we've seen anything like this in modern American politics.
I don't think we've seen anything like, I agree with JD. On this point, actually. I don't even know if he was aware that he was making this point when you compare it to the Kamala clip. Two statements, almost identical. Jesus is Lord at the Kamala rally, Jesus is king at the JD rally. And Jesus is Lord and king. Kamala says, wrong rally, get down the street. JD says, oh yes, of course Jesus is Lord. Which side are you on, son? Which side are you on? At the Kamala rallies, they're not even allowing impromptu questions. Kamala just did a rally with Liz Cheney, of course, and Maria Shriver. Maria Shriver, a Kennedy, a former Schwarzenegger, who was hosting the rally. And she was asked at the top of the rally if Kamala would be taking questions. Now, you got to remember, the people who go to these things are meticulously selected. The libs were feigning outrage that Trump had a campaign stop at a McDonald's. He did a publicity stunt at a McDonald's. But of course, all the campaign stops are publicity stunts for both candidates since time immemorial. And if you think that the McDonald's was meticulously selected, just wait until you hear what they do at the Kamala town halls. These people are all selected to be big supporters of Kamala, but some supporters have the audacity to want to ask the candidate a question. So one of the supporters says, "Hey, can I ask her a question?" Here's Shriver's answer.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
Yeah, no, you can't ask any questions. We wrote some questions, so we're going to ask ourselves some questions, and then I will ask some more questions that we ourselves wrote. And then we'll all just talk to ourselves because we're afraid of having to answer questions even from our own supposed supporters. And if I were Kamala, I would be afraid of that too, because she's never received a primary vote while running for president. So I would be afraid. She has no reason to believe that these people really are supporters of her in any way. These people voted for Biden. They voted for Biden in 2024, before there was a palace coup. And they probably voted for Biden in 2020 when he won the nomination. There's a good chance they voted for him then too. If Kamala Harris can't handle questions on the campaign trail, if Kamala Harris can't handle questions from her own supporters on the campaign trail, how is she supposed to handle the presidency? How is she supposed to handle negotiations with Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping? It's a farce. The notion that Kamala Harris, in any possible universe, could handle the duties of the presidency is a farce. And most people know it. Many Democrats know it. Many groups that traditionally support Democrats know it. People in the swing states, some people in the suburbs, black men notably, they seem to be moving over to Trump. It's absurd. I almost would understand if she were just at a broad campaign stop and there are going to be Trump supporters trolling her. Then maybe she wants to control the questions. Even then, though, girl, you got to be good at this. That's your job. Your job is to field hostile questions. It isn't that hard. We do it. We here at the DailyWire do it every time we go to a university and we get all these sorts of crazy questions from liberal students. It's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science to be able to answer hostile questions. It's actually pretty simple if you know what you believe. If you are confident in your views and you have an even semi-coherent understanding of the world. Kamala doesn't have any of that. Now, I want to turn from Kamala to outer space because a new documentary claims that an extraterrestrial has given the first alien interview in TV history. Before I do that, though, I want to hear Kamala talk about outer space.
There's this whole, I talked with somebody once who said, if you just look at where the stars are in the sky, don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points, look at the constellation, what does it show you? So you just outlined it, Roland. What does it show you?
Man, you dig? You're going to get 4 years of that if that woman gets elected. You're going to get, and what's the practical implication of that? We've already heard it when she talked about the war in Ukraine. Ukraine is a country, and it's next to a bigger country, Russia, and Russia is a bigger country, and it invaded Ukraine, and that's what you're going to get. The stars in the sky. You ever look up at them? They're bright. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. So turning to extraterrestrial matters, there's a man, Darryl Anka. Darryl Anka claims to be in communion with extraterrestrial entities whom he channels as a sort of medium to allow them to expound upon their theories of mankind. Because according to this man, the entity that is speaking through him, mankind is a kind of DNA experiment. We're a grand science experiment, and he has a lot to tell us, supposedly, about what a man really is, what our purpose really is, what the universe is really like, man. He's got all the secrets. And a credulous interviewer has just given him the stage, which we will get to in one moment. First, though, in 2 weeks, election night 2024 will determine America's fate. Join the most trusted voices in media. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Andrew Klavan, Jeremy Boring, and yours truly, plus a host of special guests live as we break down the night's biggest developments. The show starts before the polls close. Our coverage does not stop until a winner is called. Are you kidding me? What are you talking? We're going to be on air for like 6 days. Oh, we'll see about that part. I don't know. I got to go talk to Jeremy about that. Plus live coverage from President Trump's headquarters, the Harris campaign, at the polls across swing states, and more. It is free to join the conversation. Watch on the Daily Wire Plus app and dailywire.com. Join the fight now. Be prepared for election night 2024. dailywire.com. My favorite comment yesterday is from Jesus or Destruction. It's a good name. It says, going to tell my kids that Trump was the founder of McDonald's. I think that's a good idea. I will be tempted to do that as well. Daryl Anka says that he channels a spirit called, or an extraterrestrial entity called Bashar or something. And here's what this amalgam of people or individual person has to say.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity to allow him to share his message. So,
thank you.
shall I let him come through?
Yes. Yes.
Give me just a minute, and then
I'll say goodbye.
see you later.
See you on the flip.
Yes. All right.
I'd like to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you, Bashar?
Perfect, thank you. Please, by all means, you may proceed however you wish, but allow us to thank you for the co-creation of this opportunity to exchange ideas and information with you.
Okay. And that's where the clip cuts off. This lengthier interview has not aired yet. Notable right away, it says, allow us to thank you. So initially the guy, Daryl Anka, says, hey, okay, I'm going to disappear now. I'm going away, but I'm going to channel this alien. And then the alien speaks in the first person plural. But he's not saying that he's speaking for Daryl, because Daryl says he's going to go away. So this is just the entity that is being channeled. And he says, allow us to thank you, which does remind me of the Bible. You know, when Christ is speaking to the demons, and the demon says, my name is Legion, for we are many. And so I'm not saying he's possessed by a demon. I'm not saying he's not possessed by a demon. I guess he could be speaking in the royal we, but I don't have any evidence. I don't have any reason to believe that this, the entity that is speaking through this guy, or just this guy being a lunatic or a hoax artist, that any of these people are royalty. So it's creepy. What else does he say? According to the reporting, though we don't have the video yet, he says, the entity or the guy pretending says, several 100,000 of your years ago, an extraterrestrial species that called themselves the Anu, A-N-N, capital N-U, did in fact come to your world, and they were in search of certain minerals to assist them in the balancing of the atmosphere of their own world. Realizing what a monumental task it was, they decided to inject their own DNA, being master geneticists, into several of the hominid species that have evolved to a certain point and were similar enough to them to transform into those that could help them in this endeavor. Thus, they created the original hominid form, what came to be understood now as Homo sapiens. So, and the next thing that catches my attention is this Anu, this extraterrestrial species called the Anu. So where have I heard Anu before? Or Anun? I thought of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, which is demons worshipped by ancient Sumerians and Babylonians and Hittites and a lot of different peoples, worshipped these supposed deities, which now Christians would understand as demons, worship them. They were descendants of An, which were worshipped by the pagans as the sky deity. So coming from the sky, kind of like the extraterrestrials. That's kind of a strange coincidence. Could be the case that this guy knows all of that, and he's just pretending, and he's crafted this elaborate performance based on ancient demons that were worshipped as sky deities. Or he might not know that. That might just be a coincidence, or he might be possessed by demons. I don't think it's aliens. I don't think it's E.T. I don't really see, if it's E.T., I don't really see how the E.T. could just take possession of him. E.T., the way that we talk about E.T., the way the modern libs talk about E.T. in their modern pseudo-religion of UFOs and global warming and vibes and chakras and stuff, is that E.T. has a body. It's corporeal. If E.T. all of a sudden is not corporeal, then there is truly nothing that would distinguish the modern lib conception of extraterrestrial aliens from the Christian, the traditionally religious conception of angels and demons. There would be no difference. The libs try to say that ET is potentially scientific, whereas angels and demons are, pseudoscience. They're religious. But the descriptions would be identical. So there would be no space there. What the filmmaker says, you can hear the filmmaker is quite credulous. The filmmaker says, the moment I came face to face with Bashar, something changed. Bashar being the name of this entity that's supposedly speaking through Daryl. The atmosphere thickened, and I found myself asking questions beyond human comprehension. I am 99.9% convinced that I was no longer speaking to Daryl. And then here's the kicker. If we believe that the dead can speak through a medium, then why dismiss the possibility of contacts with beings from other worlds? Great question from this filmmaker. I think a lot of modern people think about stuff like this. A lot of modern people who, despite their scientific pretensions, are given to all manner of new agey kind of pseudo-religious beliefs. If we believe that the dead can speak through a medium, then why dismiss the possibility of contact with beings from other worlds? Now, I think the dead can appear sometime. I believe in ghosts in certain cases. And I believe in ghosts because I'm a Christian and there's a ghost in the Bible. The witch of Endor summons the ghost of Samuel. And she actually seems kind of surprised. So I don't know exactly what role she had in summoning the ghost of Samuel. The ghost of Samuel might just have come down by the power of God and speaks to Saul. If you're not religious, if you're not a Jew, if you're not a Christian, if you don't believe this in Revelation in the Bible, then this probably means nothing to you. You probably think it all sounds weird. But I'm just telling you why I believe in principle in ghosts. But I think most of the time when people are speaking to psychic mediums, they're speaking either to cynical con artists or people dabbling in the occult. And that if the psychic medium believes that he is communicating with something, that the thing he's communicating with is a demon. That's what I believe. And that's what Christians typically believe. I've done a series of Michael and interviews with The Exorcist, Father Dan Rehill, with a number of people who have lived in the occult, people who've practiced as psychic mediums, and they pretty much all say the same thing. There are three possibilities here. This man rather, is faking it. It's all just a big hoax and performance. Or he's a lunatic. He's just schizophrenic or something like that. Or he's channeling demons. Those are the only options. And which one is most likely? I don't know. I'm not sure. The one thing I'm certain of is that he's not channeling E.T. Because it just wouldn't make sense. Because the only thing that would distinguish E.T. from an angel or a demon is having a body. And obviously, we're not speaking to a corporeal being in any case. And what's the broader takeaway here? The broader takeaway is this. In modern science, supposedly scientific life, we are told that religious people are superstitious. This is what you're superstitious. You go to church? What, you pray? What, you confess your sins? What, you have little icons in your home and you're superstitious. You're not like us. religious people are not the most superstitious people in the world. They're the least superstitious people. Because, as the old platitude goes, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So the people who say, I don't believe in anything, I'm agnostic, or I'm atheist even, I'm certain that there's no God. It's all just flesh and meat. But when you really press them on their beliefs, if you're a person who says this stuff, maybe if you really press yourself on your beliefs, you'll find these people believe a lot of crazy things. They believe a lot of new agey stuff. They believe in vibes. They believe in energy. Some of them believe in crystals, man. They believe in karma. They believe in dharma. They believe in the universe sending out messages, man. So they believe in ET, man. I'm pretty sure I saw a UFO. That's superstition. Religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. Theology is applying the rigors of logic to faith. Faith seeking understanding. All this other stuff, this is faith without understanding. This is religion without logic. This is a habit of, I don't know if it's a habit of virtue, habit of vice, who knows what it is. It's not really oriented toward God. I don't know. It's sometimes oriented toward the self, sometimes oriented toward something else. But it's real confused, real superstitious. Today is Tee Tuesday. We have a special guest, a comedian on the show, Brad Stein. The rest of the show continues. Now, you do not want to miss it. Become a member. Use code Knowles, KNWLES, at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.
The question everyone in America is asking,
Am I racist?
Make those moves.
get a DailyWire Plus membership to see Am I Racist?
This is all I have. Did you want to?
I can help you guys out.
Yeah.
Go to AmIRacist.com and sign up now.
I've been told because I'm a white male, kind of at the top of the pile, how do I get down from the top?
I don't think you necessarily can.
How do we get past all the talk about racism?
We have to love each other.
Well, it can't be that simple. How do we get to a point of racial harmony? It's good to talk to you. We're still on a journey, all of us together.
I think you got some journeying to do.
Just talk to me about the statistics. We have an epidemic.
20 million crimes a year, 6,000, 7,000 hate crimes. No, there's no epidemic.
Why are we talking about statistics? This is not a matter of statistics.
Well, you asked me about the statistics.
Am I Racist? Coming to DailyWire Plus on October 28th. Rated PG-13.